we are pleased to welcome the head coach of the University of Waterloo football team, Chris Bertoia, to the program. You know, Chris, you always talk about first downs and touchdowns, and those weren't problems for you last night, were they?
No, the offense was firing on all cylinders last night. That's a credit to Trey. He was lights out in his first full game starting, and obviously playing the whole entire game, and 25 of 28, 89% completion percentage. He was on fire. Obviously, he made a few things happen with his legs as well. So he's a dynamic athlete and definitely a special player. Obviously, he found Tyler Ternowski, a great receiver for us. Explosive and can make things happen out of nothing. So it was definitely an exciting game if you're in the stands, no doubt. So,
talk about the atmosphere there last night. It was a full house. It was under the lights, and this team, like you said, is so fun to watch. Trey Ford can make anything happen at any point. Ternowski has 4 touchdown receptions to tie an OUA single-game record. You couldn't have asked for a better start. I know you're a football coach, and you're never going to be 100% satisfied, but when you look back on the film and everything that happened last night, sort of a check mark for the Warriors in terms of a good start.
Well, check mark just because we won. That's the most important thing. Whether we win by 16, I think, or 1 point, the victory is the main thing, and then we took it one game at a time. And yeah, no, it's exciting. I mean, we kind of knew going in training camp and the training camp that we had, and we have a lot of speed in our offense and some dynamic athletes, and so I expect us to continue. Obviously, we have to prepare for each and every opponent and prepare wisely and strategically to put our guys in positions for success. But I think we're going to be an entertaining football club, that's for sure.
I think if you're sitting in the stands last night, you're right. The first thing that stands out is Trey Ford, Tyler Ternowski, Curtis Gray had a great game as well. But when you look at the other things, what are some of the other things that you guys did well last night that the average fan may not have noticed that you looked at today and thought those were also difference makers for our football team last night?
Well, Caleb Gerard, our punter, he was in his 5th year. He had a 42.5-yard punting average, and for us, last year Caleb averaged 30 yards a punt. And I mean, obviously that's just one game, but he was able to change the field for us in certain situations when we weren't able to, get some touchdowns. That was huge and critical in a few points where he caught and cornered one critical plays for us to secure that victory. So Caleb was definitely one thing there. I think our special teams overall played pretty well, and that was important because we needed to upgrade that department from last year. And I mean, that's ultimately the goal is you either get better or you get worse. Nothing stays the same. And then last night, special teams wise, we were definitely better than we were a year ago.
Can you touch on Curtis Gray a little bit? A Resurrection Phoenix graduate from a local high school here in Kitchener. He had an outstanding rookie season last year. Again, this kid is going to be a leader for years to come. Last night he goes out there, he gets 9.5 tackles. What makes this kid so exceptional, and what do you like most about him as a person and a football player, Coach?
He's an exceptional athlete. Curtis fortunate that he came to Waterloo. He was kind of a sleeper. He was playing tight end at Resurrection, and we just saw his athleticism, his speed. I mean, he's 6'3", 210, 215, playing that Sam linebacker position, which is such a critical position in the defense in Canadian football, and he can just flat out fly. And when he lands at his point of contact, he comes violently. He's a very secure tackler, and he's just turning in slowly but surely to being the leader of our defense and a leader of our team. So, our expectations for Curtis are exactly what he did last night. We need him to perform like that for us to continue to win football games.
A couple of kids that battled injuries last year. Mitch Kernick, obviously, Elmira kid. He had a huge touchdown catch last night. That was a great throw from Trey to Mitch Kernick, and off Kernick went to the end zone. He missed a bunch of time. He missed a bunch of time last year. Another kid that stands out is Devin Hinsberger, right? He's battled some injuries as well. I think it's just great to see these local kids back in the lineup and contributing.
Yeah. Devin, I was happy to see Dev perform last night, and knock on wood, but make it through a game.
Yeah.
He's been maligned with injuries, and was very happy for Dev to come out and perform last night. And his younger brother Jack had an outstanding game too as a starting linebacker as a freshman, his first game in U Sports. And Jack did a fantastic job as well. And I'm sure their dad Casey is in the berm or the stand somewhere was
big smile on his face,
big grin. Yeah. So, and then Mitch is just Mitch is like the man. Mitch got married this summer, and he's such a mature kid. He has battled through injuries and stuff, but Mitch, he made that one catch, but he does so many things critical for our offense to function at that H-back position. It's the most difficult position in our offense. We ask him to do so many different things, and that just goes to show you the kind of jack-of-all-trades athlete he is, and I think his pedigree shows that from coming up from Elmira. He was a multi-sport guy, and like last night, he looked like a drunken sailor on Halifax Street running down that 74-yarder. He was weaving and bobbing to avoid getting tackled there, but it was impressive, and I was glad he was able to finish it and get 6 on the board.
And here's the thing about the offense too: when you've got a quarterback like Trey Ford, who is so mobile, right? The kid's got an arm. We saw that on the Mitch Kernick touchdown pass. Again, on a Ternowski touchdown pass as well. Ford can also take off. He scores in that 20-yard quarterback keeper. I guess the question is this, Coach. If you were an opposing coach, how would you try to defend Trey Ford? Because your offense has so many different layers to it, so many different facets to it, that it's tough. You can't key on one thing because Trey could take off, or he could launch it downfield, or you could hand it off to 2 of your awesome running backs, Brandon Metz and Dion Pellerin.
Yeah, you know what? I don't even know how to answer that. I'm glad I don't have to.
Yeah, it's not your problem, is it?
No, he's definitely a difference maker and a special athlete. That he's a generational guy. Yeah, Kids like him don't come around every so often, especially in Canada. So we're fortunate that he's on board with the black and gold, and I'm sure we're going up down to U of T this week, and their new head coach Craig Marshall, he's a defensive guru, and I'm sure he's strategizing down there as how do you contain. And I mean, the thing with Trey, which is a benefit to us, is that if you focus on stopping him at one thing, he can get you on another. And so it's kind of, you want to take, as a defensive coach, you're gonna kind of plan out, okay, what's the lesser of evil, and try to focus on that. I guess I to be honest, he'd be frustrating to try and defend. There's no doubt.
And I was near the Windsor coaches last night, and they're just almost shaking their heads, not because they're not trying to scheme and come up with something, literally because he's just so versatile and he can do so many different things, and he's such a leader on the field. And this is a second-year kid out of A.N. Meyer in Niagara Falls, so I can only imagine how good he's going to be in a couple of years. His twin brother Tyrell Ford, though, he didn't go unnoticed last night either. The one play that stood out for me was the pass over the middle. Tyrell breaks it up. That's just a great defensive play, and defense has sort of been I don't want to say a weak spot for you guys, but definitely somewhere where you need to be a little bit better going forward. And I think Tyrell, stepped into the role last night, played really, really well, and it looks like the defense is moving in a positive direction as well. Is that a fair assessment, Coach?
Yes, it is. I think we had a blip on the screen there at the end of the second quarter, and Windsor was able to put up 14 points, which gave them some momentum. But our defense, bent, but didn't break, and that was important. And when they needed to come up with a defensive stand, they did last night. And obviously, Terrell's a factor in our defense, along with Curtis and the Hitzberger brothers. So we have big expectations for Tyrell. I keep telling him he's disappointing me. He hasn't returned 2 kicks for a touchdown or anything like that. So he needs to catch up to his brother.
Yeah, I was going to say that'd be quite a race there. I want to touch on the pregame a little bit, Coach. Just talking about Lam Ding. Obviously, he's someone who's in everybody's thoughts, and there was a moment of silence before last night's game. The motto for the team this year is "Make it count." Can you just elaborate a little bit on that and speak to Lam and the impact he had on the Waterloo Warriors football program and how meaningful it is to play for him this season?
Yeah, that was obviously a moment we're going to recognize them probably at every home game, and especially our final home game of the regular season against McMaster, where it's our senior day, and we're going to have one smile with siblings, come through the tunnel just like all the other senior parents do, and give him the same respect. And we did the first offensive play of the game yesterday. We did with only 11 players on there in honor of Willem as well. And he's in our thoughts, and he was part of my pregame talk with the guys. And yeah, our focus right now is on making it count, making each and every rep, each and every day count. I know it sounds cliche, but when you go through this tragic loss, you realize that these things are truly important. And Lum's with us in spirit. He was there last night. I know he's smiling down, and he was a big goofy smile. Was definitely probably ear to ear with the offensive performance that we had. So
for sure,
we're gone but not forgotten, and we're dedicating the season to him. So hopefully the season is a monumental one for us.
What do you think the team can achieve this season? Which is, tough to ask you after week one, and I know part of the answer is going to be week by week, quarter by quarter.
Yeah,
but you were, you got to 4-0 last year, right? If you can get back to 4-0, it was a learning experience last year, right?
Yeah, we need to make the playoffs. Knock it off one of the big teams. I classify Western OUA back. Well, I think we need to take one or two of those teams down, make the playoffs, and then that would be a successful season. That's us taking another step forward and building a successful football program here at Waterloo. If we don't make the playoffs, honestly, it'll be blunt. The season will be a disappointment, no doubt. I think that's from me down all the way through to our last player. There's a hunger, a quiet confidence, but also an expectation level of being elite. And I think anything short of playoffs would be a very disappointing season for us.
I feel like this team is ready to win. I feel like they're right on the edge. And yes, you're going to play some weaker opponents over the course of the season. I'm not asking you to say that, but the reality is there's different tiers of teams in OUA football. You're right. Win the games that you're, quote, supposed to win. Get a victory, maybe over McMaster, over Laurier, whoever that ends up being. This team, you can just see it when you're around this group, and the parents and the program and Rolly Webster, the athletic director. Everybody, you're right, from the top down, you're ready to win. And I think that's an attitude and a mindset that can take you a long way. Fair?
100% agree. And, the other acronym that we live by is the word hope, and it's have only positive expectations. That's something we absolutely have going through our locker room, and we're trying to make that contagious throughout our campus. And, last night it was a nice atmosphere at Warrior Field, and we want to keep building on that. Our tailgate party was pretty good. The parents group we have is outstanding, and we're so fortunate to have their support. So we're really excited for what the season holds, but as you say, as a coach, one practice, one game at a time. Can't look far ahead. We just got to take care of business at hand.
If you haven't been to Warrior Field, it's awesome because it's intimate, it's small, it fills up, and going on behind the grandstand is the field house. A work in progress, Coach, but can you even describe what that's going to look like and sort of the impact that it's going to have on the Waterloo football program when that thing's done?
Oh, that field house is going to be ready to go in December. So, obviously we want to make sure that we play as long as we can this year. But from a program development standpoint and just opportunity for building our brand within our community, within our province, 7-on-7 football tournaments, you name it. There's so many things that we can do that'll be beneficial to not only Warrior football, but Warrior athletics in general. And I'm just, super stoked for to see the finished product and be able to get in there and develop our guys. And that's a huge commitment that we can make to incoming recruits as well, because it's a very unique facility.
For more highlights, visit our website, 519sportsonline.ca. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.